Greetings. My name is Mr. Sarar.
The visual arts, starting with Art 1 through 4, Art History, and Animation. Here's Art 1. Begin the year with contour line and shading. Then we move on to watercolor. Then we do mosaics, tearing little pieces of colored paper from magazine ads. Graphic design, and a lot more. Art 2, we start with collages, non-objective collages and objective collages. This is surrealistic media art. We're tearing images from magazines and creating a surrealistic image and then painting over it with acrylic paint. Observational drawing in the classroom using watercolor and colored pencil. Then we make large paintings. These are averaging 18 by 24, and this is pop art / comic art, taking a single panel from a comic book or graphic novel, and the artist must have their own name in the word bubble. Art 3, the more serious artist. This is called trompe-l'oeil, fooling the eye. These pencils are made to look real. We study the head and do creative illustrations with the head eventually. We do portraiture with acrylic paint. And then we do studies, still life studies. Still life studies in pencil. And this is morphing one image into another. Colored pencil and watercolor. Moving on to Art 4, the very serious artist, most of them going on to art schools. Self-portrait, these are large, 20 by 30 or 30 by 40. We do fold studies, hand studies. This is a black and white still life, adding a little bit of color. These are Escher rinds or skin ribbons, but the students are doing a self-portrait in the process. This is, I call, getting small. It's a still life and putting yourself in the still life. Creative illustration. Art history. In the first marking period, we studied traditional art history. Moving from the Renaissance, and I'm jumping ahead, but this is post-impressionism, expressionism, and more. Always going chronologically into the future, into the 21st century. Second marking period, we study cartooning, and move into the newspaper strips, or newspaper comics, which eventually leads into the comic books. And then we move on to illustration. Illustrations in books, illustrations in magazines. Third marking period, the history of film, starting with vaudeville, going through the silent period, and all the way through till today. Fourth marking period, the history of animation, pre-Mickey Mouse, through Mickey Mouse, all the way to Miyazaki and further. Finally, animation. We study what animation is. Animation, we're creating the illusion of life. We study the 12 principles of animation. And we do a lot of working out. And what do we do when we work out? We draw and draw and draw. Can't get enough practice. Then we get into the software, which is Flash, and we learn to work with the graphics in Flash. Then we start learning our animation techniques. And then we start with simple animation in Flash, being rolling a ball, bouncing a ball, simple inanimate objects, animals and humans, floating in deep space. And then the second semester we create one 30-second piece and then a 45-second piece. That's a lot of work. But we start with story development, visual development and backgrounds, then we do storyboards, then we create our animation in software. Here are some student samples of animating in the Flash software. This is a jump. Another jump in a very different style. Here's a piece in a very Nickelodeon type style, I would say. Very clever. What's something you learned from this course?
Well, you learn to stop being so self-critical about yourself because nobody's really judging you when you're drawing because everyone's at the same level. And it's kind of like everyone helps each other out. Everyone's kind of a family in the class.
What's the best part of this course?
Best part of this course is not only the challenging and fun artwork that Mr. Cerrone assigns us, but also is his loud outbursts when someone takes their phone out.
Why is this the best class in the school?
Mr. Cerrone!
Mr. Cerrone!
Mr. Cerrone! Mr. Cerrone cuts the spaghetti!
That's me.